Hare Krishna. So, can you see the slide that I'm showing, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Yep. So, today we are going to finish both verse number 6 and 7 that talks about seeing the equal, developing an equal vision to see everything in relation to the Lord. This is very, very critical subject. How one can develop the spiritual vision to see everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, verse number 6 talks about seeing Krishna and his energy everywhere. Beautiful verse, very beautiful verse. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmana eva nupasyati sarva bhutesu chatmanam tato nidhyugupsate. Yastu sarvani bhutani. Yastu sarvani bhutani. One who sees everything and everyone. Yastu sarvani bhutani. The one who sees in every living being. Atman Atmanevanu pashyati. Atman eva anupashyati. In relation to the Supreme Lord. So the one who sees everything and everyone in relation to the Supreme Lord, Sarva Bhuteshu Cha Atmanam, and who sees the Super Lord within everything, Tatto Na Bijugupsate, never hates or criticize anyone or anything. Now, this is really very much loaded with a lot of critical instructions here. Now, one who sees everything and everyone in relation to the Supreme Personality of Lord, who sees Lord within everything, he never hates or criticizes anyone or anything. So how one can come to this stage of realization when one starts seeing everything in relation to God and develop the mindset to not criticize or not hate. The mankind today or the human life today has these two things very predominant. There are many reasons to hate things, certain things. There are many reasons to criticize someone. So how to come to that standard of realization where we do not see things separately from Lord Krishna, rather we see his presence in everything. So what we'll do is that we'll go through the purport, each paragraph, and try to highlight the key essential message that's given in each paragraph. So Prabhupada starts writing the purport, saying that Mahabhagavat can see everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahabhagavat Uttamadhikari, devotees who are Mahabhagavat. So somebody will, ask, what's the criteria to know that if I have in my spiritual life come to this stage? How to know? Devotee always ask, am I advancing in my, in my spiritual life or not? We all are advancing. We all are making advancement on each and every moment. Everything that we hear, everything that we learn, every association that we have with devotees, all of that association is always teaching us something, giving us something. And depend how conscious we are about the, or how sensitive we are to things that we are seeing, that's the degree we learn. So a Mahabhagavati Utmadhikari, if we want to come to this stage, then we have to have this quality where we are not seeing any distinctions. Bhagavad Gita says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Brahmane Vyavastini Suninchaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samadopsini. Doesn't matter, he sees a dog or dog eater, elephant, or cows, whatever he sees, he is seeing all of them on same status because he sees the same soul and super soul residing. He's not being affected by the external bodily feature that soul has retained or soul has gained. So that's the Mahabhagavata stage. But Prabhupada says that in the second paragraph, that what's the realization of the Madhmadhikari? Madhmadhikari has realization, Prema, Maitri, Daya, Upeksha. Madhmadhikari is definitely, so in this section, basically, we are going to talk a lot about this three adhikari. In the purpose, Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, is talking a lot about Uttama, Madhma, and Kanishta adhikari, and how these adhikaris, how these devotees act against the standard that is being set up here, which is seeing everything and everyone in relation to Krishna. So how this personality sees every living being around them. So number one, the gold standard is Utmadhikari Mahabhagavat. He sees everything in relation to Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Madhmadhikari, he's advanced in his consciousness, but he sees things in four ways: Prema, Maitri, Daya, Upeksha. Prema means to love. He loves Supreme Personality of Godhead. He loves, Mahabhagavat. He loves advanced devotee. And if he finds somebody who is of his stature, then he will develop the friendship. Normally in our congregation, most of us are mostly friendship. Here, most of the devotees are on the call. Very much we are in that category. We are friend of each other, little bit here and there, but mostly we are in the same category. And then when he sees someone who is innocent, then he has daya, karuna, help them come to higher stage. And somebody who hates Krishna consciousness, who is not, who is envious to them, he just discard them. So he is seeing things as it is, but still this seeing has some distinction. Okay, but Madhmadhikari does not see this distinction. Doesn't matter one is worth of upeksha, doesn't matter one is upeksha and one is worth of daya, doesn't matter if one is worth of friendship, doesn't matter if one is elevated. All of them, he sees, that all of them have presence of Lord. So Utmadhikari is greater, Prabhupada says, because he is not misled by the material body. Rather, he sees the spiritual spark. And then he talks that now in the society, we may see people artificially trying to, talk the universal brotherhood. And that type of thing, so that Prabhupada is saying here, is basically imitating of the Utmadhikari. Unless and until one doesn't develop that real quality of seeing things as they are in terms or in relation to Krishna, and trying to pretend is not recommended. So Prabhupada is saying that this conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from Uttamadhikari, a devotee who are really seeing things uh, as they are. One should not try to imitate the seeing of Uttamadhikari. Very important, and then in that section, there are so many other beautiful points that Prabhupada is making. So please read the please read the uh, purport. And then he says that real seeing, now more on the universal brotherhood, the real seeing is seeing through the eyes of Veda and through the teaching of Acharya, not through our imperfect eyes. In the society today, we see people seems to be pretending and trying to help on the name of brotherhood, universal brotherhood, but that is immature seeing, because their seeing is not aligned with the teaching of Veda, or not aligned with teaching of what our acharyas have taught us. But Prabhupada said, but that seeing, how that seeing will happen? Okay, seeing through the eyes of Veda. Okay, hearing, so seeing through hearing. So how that will happen? Only when that hearing is coming from a bona fide source, such as the Lord himself is the source of that knowledge. And then through his bona fide succession, it's receding, it's descending, it's coming down. And then Prabhupada says that, from Krishna, Arjuna, and how, through him, it's coming. So that's how we have to learn. Krishna has spoken that science to Arjuna. So the original source is basically Lord himself. Then it comes to Lord Brahma, then it's coming to Narada Muni. Likewise, it's coming all the way down to us. So that's how one should try to see things, not imitate. And then Prabhupada says that type of seeing will happen only when one is in a Brahmbhuta stage. Only Uttamadhikari can see all being as brother. Politicians or other people shall not imitate. So very much through this series of paragraphs, Prabhupada brought us to the point that by taking the devotional service, by taking the limbs of the devotional service under the instruction of bona fide disciplic succession, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, one can come to a stage of the Mahabharata. And then in that way, he can see things as they are. So in one sense, for verse number 6 and 7 is not quite different. Also, these two verses are very similar. So you might hear same thing again and again. But I just want to let you know that if you really try to get the essence out of these paragraphs, then we learn that by taking devotional service, one can, in reality, in factual way, can understand and see, can see things as they are. Now, another beautiful concept here. So Uttamadhikari, Madhmadhikari, and Kanishtadhikari, these three adhikaris. So you will hear the definition of these three terms differently. In different contexts, the definition will change. So here, what we are seeing is that a person who is in very, lower stage of their consciousness, if one is in the Kanishta stage, then one does not know his or her position, who I am, that understanding is not there. Who Lord is, a Kanistadhikari does not know the advancement of other devotee also. In front of Kanistadhikari, everything is same thing. They cannot see who is advanced devotee, who has more spiritual vision, who has developed more spiritual understanding. Kanistadhikari cannot see this thing, but Madhyamadhikari can see. Okay, so Madhyamadhikari is not a very ordinary, status. So one should at least try to endeavor to come to a stage of the Madhyamadhikari, where we can see, who is worth worshipping, who is worth doing friendship, who is worth giving our association and compassion, and who is worth just having rejecting them. So that type of vision Madhyamadhikari has, but Uttamadhikari, he doesn't see anything. Okay, so that is why Uttamadhikari cannot preach. You'll hear that one has to descend down to the platform of Madhyamadhikari to preach, because Uttamadhikari does not see any distinctions. He does not really get deluded by how much one knows versus how much one doesn't know. He sees that, and I'll talk about that later. I'll quote some verses from Bhagavatam to make that point clear. But that's how the Uttamadhikari is. So Uttamadhikari comes down to the status of at the position of Madhyamadhikari, at the level of the Madhyamadhikari, to be able to preach. Because in order for one to preach, he has to create the environment, and that only Madhyamadhikari can do. So Srila Prabhupada was Uttamadhikari, but in order to save the conditioned soul, he came, he acted as Madhyamadhikari, and he preached the message of Krishna consciousness to the whole world. So let's get into the verse number 7, and then we'll talk more. So this verse talk about, there is a qualitative oneness with the Supreme Lord. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhud vijanatah tatra ko moha kaha soka ekta manu pashyatah. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhud vijanatah tatra ko moha kaha soka ekatvam anupashyatah. One who sees all jiva as a spiritual spark is a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or lamentation for him? He sees everybody as one in quality with the Lord, following the authorities. So he sees everybody as one in quality with the Lord, because that's what his realization is, that instruction he has received. So let's go through the again each paragraph of this purport. And in the picture, so in the previous picture, I wanted to basically, this is a very famous picture, that how Uttamadhikari is seeing all other being. And same thing here again, how a advanced devotee, Mahabhagavat, seeing the presence of Krishna in everything. And in that way, although they are different in their body, but he is seeing ekatam anupashyata. He is seeing qualitatively that they are the one. So Prabhupada starts saying that except Madhma and Uttamadhikari, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. Okay, so Uttamadhikari can definitely see. Madhyamadhikari can also see their spiritual position, but there is some distinction on their seeing. But both Madhma and Uttamadhikari can see the spiritual position of a living being. And then Prabhupada, explain in detail what is the real meaning of this word ekatvam anupashyatah. Ekatvam, because somebody, and especially people who are promoting Mayavadi teaching, who are promoting that Aham Brahmasmi, we are basically none different than Krishna, they quote ISOPANISAD. That is why in past also I think in many classes I have told that I personally like teaching ISOPANISAD at after nectar of instruction, or teaching of Bhagavad Gita has been completed, because once we have heard teaching of Krishna, then it will be very easy for us to understand and grasp this concept of ekatam anupashyate, because a Mayavadi can cite this verse and say that, see here, Krishna is saying that we all become one. We become basically one, and all other living beings are nothing but Krishna. So they are basically in the Maya, and once that Maya is gone through Gyan, then they will know their actual position and they will become Lord Himself. But once we hear from bona fide Acharya, such as our disciplic succession, then we understand that this ekatam is not talking about that they are in quantity and quality, equal to Krishna. Maybe right now their quantity is diminished, quality is still there, but at some point, they will develop and their quantity will become as good as Krishna's inconceivable potencies. So that concept, we don't have to buy in. That's why Srila Prabhupada in the purport very nicely trying to give us understanding that this ekatam is only on the quality basis. And then there are examples given of sun, sign, and other examples here. You can read it. But one that I want to cite here is that Prabhupada is talking about that there is salt in a drop of water, and there is salt in huge ocean. So how to understand the quantitative difference? The quantitative difference, one can understand how much salt you get from a drop of water versus how much salt you have in the ocean. It is huge. So one should not think that I'm equal to Krishna. But yes, if you do the chemical analysis of a drop of water, the chemical composition is same as you will do the chemical analysis of the ocean, because it's all water. So soul is residing in the every living being, but maybe their bodily feature is different. Super soul and soul, both of them have the nature of eternity, but there is quantitative difference. And then Prabhupada says, Anandamayo Abhyasat. You have heard that a lot, and this same Anandamayo Abhyasat is also quoted by Mayavadi too. If you have heard, or if you have some other come to association of them, they also say that Anandamaya Abhyasat. We by nature are supposed to be blissful, because we have come from that blissful person. So we are blissful. But Prabhupada here is saying that yes, our nature is blissful because we have come from, our source has all blissful nature. So we have come from that blissful nature. But one should know that as long as one is conditioned with the mode of nature, one cannot release that Anandamaya Abhyasat. One cannot release that ever blessing. Very powerful statement. One cannot come to the stage to release that powerful bliss unless and until one is affected by modes of material nature. So only by trying to make our interest, or by trying to align our interest with interest of Krishna, our interest is trying to the transcendental interest, and we become nirguna. Very important concept. You might have heard this thing again and again and keep on hearing, but please try to digest this thing very deep. The teaching here that given is that how to become nirguna, how to come beyond this, and that teaching is given by our Mahaprabhu. Okay, vipralambha bhav. So this basically takes us to that stage. So we should try to strive to be nirguna, unless and until our interest is not transcendental, we cannot be ever blissful. And that will happen only when we are surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once we are serving, the way we are serving is that whatever we are doing in pleasing service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then further Prabhupada said, in this verse, there is a statement here that says that Atmaiva Bhut Bijantaha. Okay, so this statement here, Prabhupada says that this Atma that is mentioned here in this particular verse is same as Brahmbhuta that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 1854. Brahmbhut prasanatman sochti na kanchati samasarvesu bhutesu madbhakti labate pram. So this Brahmbhuta stage, what is that stage? That is the stage of liberation. Okay, once living being is fully situated in the Nirguna platform, that's the Mukt platform, liberation. So liberation does not mean something after death. No, liberation means what? Liberation has multiple level of definitions, but the very preliminary definition of the Nirguna or Mukti or liberation is that coming beyond out of the clutch of the modes of material nature. So Prabhupada is saying here, this Atma-bhuta, once we are trying to know who we are, okay, who I am, oh, I am a soul, that understanding comes when we align our interest with the interest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by continuously serve. And by serving, as we know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will know ourselves. So this process is not basically, a mutually exclusive process. Both of these happen simultaneously. In the process of knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we know ourselves. So Atma-bhuta, if one who is trying to know who am I, know what is the position of other living being, we have to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that process, we'll come to that Brahman stage, beyond material nature. And in that stage, an individual being will be fully realized to see things as they are. Okay, so these two verses are helping us understand that how we should see things that are existing around us. So I'll just try to show you some more example, because these are the things that we are seeing. So far, we had information about how we should see things. Now, let's try to basically transform our consciousness by applying those teachings. So here is beautiful verse, and I love this verse. Srila Prabhupada has cited this verse so many times. Okay, multiple times. If you are hearing Srila Prabhupada class, you will hear Srila Prabhupada citing this verse. So I'm going to basically cite the same verse here that says Jalja Nava Lakhani Asthavara Laksha Vimshati Kramayo Rudra Sankhya Kaha Pakshinam Dasalakshanam Trimashal Lakhani Pasavaha Chatur Lakhani Manushaha Jalja Nava Lakhani. So there are 900,000 species of life that lives in water. Asthavare Laksha Vimsati, 2 million on Asthavare on earth, such as trees and plants. Kramayo Rudra Sankhya and 1.1 insects and reptiles. Pakshinam Dasalakshanam and 1 million birds species, 1.1 insects and reptiles, and 1 million birds. Trimal Lakhani Paswa, and 3 millions all this Pashu. And then Chatur Lakhani Manusa, and 400,000 mankind. So if you add them, 2 million and 1 million and 1, so 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 6, 9 and 1, basically 8, so 3, 2, 3, 3, 6, 7, and then 8, and then 0.4. So total 8.4 million species of life is being taught here. So 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 900,000 and 100,000 is 8 million total, and 0.4. So 8.4 million species of life. So these two verses are teaching that when we are seeing, this 400 species of human life, and when we are seeing this 3 million species of, Pashu, all of that, when we see, if we are Mahabhagavat, then we should see not their external body, but we should see that there is presence of soul and super soul, and based upon that, we should deal with them. Now, why they have all different types of form, why they have different, body, then this is very nicely mentioned in 4th canto, 21st chapter by Maharaj Prithu. And Maharaj Prithu is saying that Pradhan Kalasya Dharma Sangrahe Sarire Sa Paritapadya Chetna Kriya Phalatvena Vibhur Vibhavate Yatha Analo Darushu Tad Gunatmakaha. So Pradhana, material nature, Kala, time, desire, particular desire that soul has, dharma, certain type of occupational duty that soul wants to engage in, and types of consciousness and karma. Okay, all of these put together. So if some has desire to swim in water, then Krishna will basically give them the body that is suitable to make them swim. So this pradhan, called desire, dharma, consciousness, and karma, all of these together, comprising together, soul gets the body. As fire is blazing in various firewood. So there is wet firewood, and then there is dry moist firewood. And between those two, there are different degree of firewood, lightweight, and then light dry, like that. So all of them have different ignition capacity. So based upon their ignition capacity, the fire will light. Exactly like that, depending on whatever certain desire, occupation, karma that living being has acquired, he will get that type of body, and then that degree of consciousness will be depicted, by that living being. So plant consciousness definitely is, very, very low, very, very, lower consciousness than other reptiles' consciousness, than human consciousness. So this verse very nicely help us understand that why living beings have all these different types of body, because these are the factor that give them that body. That is why the Uttama Adhikari, a person who is in the Uttama platform, he understand that yeah, we know that certain species has certain character, or a certain person has certain character, but this is all based upon their gun, karma, kal, swabhav, dharma that the soul has. But if you go deeper down, this is nothing but same soul that I am. There is no distinction in the soul. There could be distinction in the body, but soul is same. Soul might have brown body, soul might have black body, soul might have white body, body of a tiger, body of a lion, elephant, all of that type of body soul will get. But soul is same. So Uttama Adhikari is basically able to see that. So that's what these two verses are teaching us to come to the stage of that Uttama Adhikari. Why? Why we have to come to the stage of Uttama Adhikari? Brahmbhut Prasanatma Anusumachati Kanchati Samar Sarvesu Bhutesu Mad Bhakti Lavate Param. Mad Bhakti Lavate. If you want to receive the bhakti, real mercy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we have to come to this stage. That's the critical lesson that we have to take. That this all hate and distinction that we see, this is not the complete seeing. This is impartial seeing. Perfect seeing is that that all these living beings have gotten their body based upon their kala, desire, dharma, and type of consciousness they want to retain. But in reality, they are the same spiritual spark, the same soul. Okay, the deeper understanding how to do that. Krishna in 11th canto is talking to Uddhav, and he is telling him very much what we are hearing in Gita. So he has spoken Uddhav Gita to Uddhav. Bhagavad Gita is spoken to Arjun, and then Uddhav Gita is being spoken to Uddhava by Lord himself, the ideal, the supreme most source. So there, one of the questions that is coming by Uddhav is that how to develop detachment then. Okay, so far we discussed that we have to come to the stage to see things as they are. Okay, but how to come to that stage? Okay, how to come to that stage? We talked about following the bona fide disciplic succession, by aligning our desire with the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, following the process of bhakti. These are the steps that we have to follow to come to the state of nirguna. Okay, so here that is personally depicted. So Krishna is citing here and telling a story of a Adhut, and that Adhut is no one but Lord himself in his Dattatreya form. So how Dattatreya developed detachment. Okay, so there are two beautiful verses, 19 and 20. Okay, in 7th chapter. So the 20th verse, I'm citing here. So that verse is saying that Atmano Gurur Atmaiva. See, this is very clear just by reading that. Atmano Gurur Atmaiva Purushasya Visheshtaha Yat Pratyaksha Anumana Bhayam Srayo Ashwa Anuvindate. So Atmano Gurur Atmaiva. Thus sometimes one acts as one instructing a spiritual master, Siksha Guru. Sometimes one has to act their own Siksha Guru. Purushasya Visheshtaha, the person who has intelligent vision, who has come to that stage where he has an intelligent vision. What he sees, he is expert, or he has developed his intelligence to the extent that he can see yat pratyaksha anumanavayam, by seeing things around him and by logically analyzing the things that he's seeing around, he can perceive the real meaning of the things that is around him, and he can apply sound logic and come to the stage where he can understand things as it is. And what's the real essence here is that we, as we are getting old, we are getting so many issues with our health. Okay, we have seen our childhood, how vibrant, how powerful, how energetic it was. Now I have come to a stage where I see that there are a lot of issues happening in the body. Okay, so if I have that intelligent vision, that's what Krishna is saying, then I can instruct myself by seeing how vibrant and energetic and powerful I was when I was a youth versus how much I have lost. So that should tell that over the time I'm deteriorating, and I'll deteriorate, I'll keep on deteriorating, and finally this body will be nothing but soil. It's going to mix into the mud. Either it's going to be ashes, it's going to be either a stool, or it's going to be basically very much mixed up with the earth. So that's the destination of the body. So likewise, we can see things that is around us and we can learn from that. So in that section, Krishna is saying that Dattatreya, he saw 20, he has 24 gurus, is being cited, that there are 24 gurus, and all of them are basically simple living beings, that is around, and looking at them, he is instructing and he is, getting, certain lesson from them, such as when he looks at Python, he sees that, oh my gosh, Python doesn't even move, just stays where it is. And, some insect, some living being comes around Python, he catches, and then he basically have the food, and he's doing nothing. Okay, so that means, all the material endeavor that we are making to get the food is in fact not needed, because we have everybody's getting food, so why not I'll get the food? So likewise, he is learning from each and every living being around him, and what he's saying, first he's learning from them, and he's considering them as their spiritual master, instructing a spiritual master. He's learning from them, and he's getting some siksha, as we get siksha from your siksha guru. So such a advanced stage where we can basically learn from things around us. And how we can learn the things that is around us? Only when we develop that vision of not seeing the distinction, not developing the hatred about the things based upon their external feature. So this is what we have in these two verses. So I thought that I'll just kind of try to walk you through some real hand examples, cite some citation from Bhagavatam also, to give you some explanation that why we get body and everything, and how we should see other living being. So what I would like to do is that I would like to hear some of the understanding from all of you, that we heard everything. Now, what is the practical application of this thing? Can we learn something from these two verses? Can we learn something that is being just shown here? And if yes, if we can learn something from here, then how we can practically apply in our life? What are the things that we can do from tomorrow onward that will show that we have understood these teachings? So what I would like to do is that maybe create a sheet here, separate, and I'll try to write whatever you all tell. So
by your progress, maybe from the Kanishta to Madhyamadhikari, we have to reach to the kind of level. So by regular practice of Krishna consciousness.
Prabhuji, you're on mute, Prabhuji. Ramachandra.
yeah, I was just trying to work on this slide. So is it clear now? Can you see the slide?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Yes, Prabhu.
so let us try to. Is it clear? What did I say so far? Was it clear, or do I need to go back?
No, we heard that.
First, if there is any doubt on any of the concept that we talked about so far, first let's do that one, and then if there is need, yeah, let's see if there is any explanation needed on anything that we just spoke. then we will talk about how we can apply these things. So my slides are here, and these are the subjects that we just talked. So anybody has any question, any challenge, anything that they want to say that, oh, I'm not aligning with what you just said or what we just heard. I think it should be like that. Anything anybody has? Is it clear? Somebody, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, please say if it's clear what I was.
Oh, it's clear, Prabhu. I think for me it's clear, but I think silence maybe means we're all clear.
Yes, Prabhu, I think we understood, but the application is where it's very hard.
Yeah, right. So let's
so
exactly. So we have to talk some of the challenge, or give us some of the methods how we can basically apply this teaching. Like for example, just start in our dealings. Most of us are dealing with the devotees most of the time, and then we see different types of things. So how tomorrow we are going to apply these teachings when I see somebody Kanishta, somebody Madhma, somebody with Madhikari. There are tons of stuff here that we can say, oh, definitely, tomorrow onward, I think I'll be realistic thing, something that we'll do, not a theoretical subject. Like for example, okay, if I see somebody coming to temple brand new, I'll approach that person and tell him that please, join Krishna consciousness. We are doing Sunday feast, or we have XYZ activity going on. Please come and be part of, our program, preaching, those type of things. So yes, Narayan Prabhu, you were saying something. Please go ahead. We'll start with you.
Prabhu, what I'm saying is, with our regular practice of Krishna consciousness, we have to come from Kanishta Adhikari to Majjhima Adhikari, and to the levels, higher level to that.
Yes, yeah, we have to come. Yeah, very good. So what we'll do to come to that stage, Prabhu? Yes, very good. We should not try to stay in
first of all,
position. It's very miserable position. Very, yes, Prabhu.
Obey the instructions of Guru and to follow the instructions.
Yeah, but what are some practical examples? Yes, you're right. So what we'll do, like something, like what we'll do, like one or two statement, very like a smart type of thing that they say, something that is very result oriented.
Basic thing is attending Mangalarti.
Okay, Mangalarti.
So at least at the home, 4:30, getting up early.
Mangalarti, getting up in the morning.
Those kind of need to stop.
Yeah, getting up. This is very practical. Getting up in morning. Yeah. So we'll try to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So by getting up in the morning, we'll elevate in our consciousness. Slowly and slowly we'll advance in Krishna consciousness. Right. So this is a very critical thing. What else, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hearing to the spiritual masters.
More hearing. More hearing we have to do. Yes. We need to do more hearing. You're right.
More hearing from, not from different sources, but primarily more focusing
from
spiritual masters.
SM.
Yeah.
Or
spiritual master lectures and other.
Or our acharyas, right?
Yep, our acharyas.
So Prabhupada in the purport has mentioned that hearing should not be done because there are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. And we talked about that part, that it should be, the knowledge should come from
bona fide
cyclic succession. The ultimate source of the knowledge is Krishna. Okay, so if you go to Vrindavan, there are temples in Vrindavan, Vrindavan itself, they chant, what they chant? Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe, Radhe. Radhe Syam, Syam, Radhe, Radhe. Where you have found this mantra? And you'll see thousands of people are there in the temple, crowded in the Vrindavan itself. So of course they are, chanting the name of Radha and Krishna. They are definitely, elevating. But where this mantra is given, okay? So it's very important. That's why one of the things that you will see that whenever I say something, I know that you will say that, oh, Ramacharya is not very, exalted personality. So he may say things from here and there, So that is why I try to make endeavor that anything that I coming out from my mouth, it has to be, from some source. So I don't just say something. If I say something, I show you. Here is saying that, Prithu Maharaj is saying that, these are the factor that gives the body. Or, 8.4 billion of species of life, this is the verse, coming from Vishnu Puran. So likewise, anything that we are citing or saying has, and that hearing, another thing is that hearing, 1 hour, our discussion that's going on, this hearing will help, because I'm not just mundane talking something from whatever my mind thinks, I'm not using my intelligence. Devotee has intelligence, very good, but don't use your intelligence, intelligently I can answer some question. Oh, if it's like that, it's like that, it's like that. Yes, but in our stage, while we are striving to be serious and devotee who is striving for good quality, for now, always cite, anything that you say, make sure it's coming from somewhere. Either some Acharya has said somewhere, it's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. That type of hearing, that type of discussion, each and every word will penetrate in our heart. As I'm saying, as a speaker, it's penetrating in my heart. As a hearer, it's getting deeper into you. So that's what we have to do. Always, look for. There are so many small booklet for so many things. I never touch even. I never even look at that. So always, some degree of chastity is very important. Like a chastity woman doesn't look at any other man. Likewise, yes. Do I have respect for other living beings? Yes. Yes, I have. But I'm always citing and looking at anything that is coming from Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Yes, and I'm not saying that other things are not bona fide, but some degree of loyalty is very important to the parampara, to our acharyas, to the shastra. This is honesty, and this type of honesty will help us. So yes, hearing, be loyal, try to be chasty. Okay, very chasty. I'll die. But if somebody can help me, only Krishna can help me. It's advanced stage. We are not there, but develop that type of mood. It's okay. Let me die. I'll die. I know. Krishna thinks that if I'm dying here, I have done some bhakti, so he knows that I'm trying to get to him. But if I'm dying, he wants me to die. Okay, I'll die. So some degree of so that's what is called art. Learning from ourselves. This thing that we just heard here. Atman Guru Atmeva, sometimes, these things, comes as a realization in our, heart, and trying to learn from ourselves. So yes, always hear spiritual master.
And God has given us enough intelligence, Prabhu. Like, we need to use that intelligence in reading and understanding.
Yes. So Atma Bhuta is, we talked about that how Atma Bhuta, our endeavor should be aligned with the teaching of Krishna and Acharyas. Then in that Atma Bhuta, is nothing but slowly and slowly, it will bring us to the Brahma Bhuta stage. So you are right. So we have to use our intelligence, but that intelligence should be aligned in the endeavor or in the activities which are aligned with Krishna's teaching. So what else?
So Prabhu, you said Atmaiva, so the person who is learning from himself, is that meaning that he's getting his intelligence from the Chaitya Guru?
Yes, super soul. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Prabhu,
Right.
here I would like to add a point here, like purification through chanting, which will clear the layers of contamination and develops the qualities of compassion, tolerance, patience.
Yeah. So you want to say something else? What you were saying? That was a good point.
I was saying purification through chanting.
Yes. So that's what Prabhupada is saying in the purport also. That if one wants to come to the stage of Utmadikari, then one has to take the bhakti process. So that was very much encapsulated there, but we'll just unfold it. Yes, chanting. Chanting will purify. Chanting will purify the consciousness. Yes.
I would add more focused chanting because
Okay, so more focused chanting. Okay, more focused chanting. More focused chanting, or yes. And when we say more focused chanting, means what is that?
that's
Without anarthas.
no distractions, you know.
Yeah, vacho manah kaya, by our words, by our mind, and by our body.
Yes.
So vatsa, mansa, kaya, these three should be aligned. Okay. So I'll write more focused means here, basically vani, kaya, and yeah, these are very important things. Okay. Yeah, I want to hear also from other devotees. I see we have 11 devotees here. Okay. What else? We're almost 2 o'clock. I can just spend 10 minutes and then we are done. What else?
By
Do
doing
not
these
try to
things,
judge.
Huh?
Do not try to judge whether someone is Anishtadhyari,
No,
Madhyadhyari, or
yes.
Samadhyadhyari.
Be realistic. So I'm forgetting the phrase. It was very. Be real. Be realistic. Not emotional. Yes, or factual. Yeah, be realistic. Okay, so we judge certain things based upon our emotion. How we can tomorrow onward, that's one of the things that I, try to meditate a lot. Like, is it something coming from my emotion? Because of our emotion is still impure. We are not that great. So some things, comes because of our human tendency. Some of the things because of my emotion. So is it something that is coming out of my emotion, or is it fact? So always try to justify that is it something unreal, or is it something just out of my emotion. That's what you were trying to say, Prabhu, or you were trying to say something else?
Yes, so I think I also want to mention that it can be dangerous also, right? Like you were mentioning, Prabhupada comes down to Madhyadhyari level to for the purpose of preaching. So we may easily misunderstand someone as Madhyadhyari when they are actually at the Madhyadhyari level, based on our limitation and perception.
Prabhu, please say, you said something very powerful. Can you, Prabhu, a little bit say louder? I didn't hear everything.
Oh, I think what I was saying was, Prabhu, we can misunderstand someone like from their level, right? Like you mentioned that Prabhupada comes down from Uttamadhikari to Madhyadhyari level for the purpose of preaching. So we may perceive that someone is at that level mistakenly based on our limitations.
Yes. Yeah. So what you were trying to say, Prabhuji?
I think that's where it goes back to it's rather better to take care of our own shortcomings than trying to measure someone like where you are in the ladder, like rather focus on yourself.
So that's what that's what I was trying to say, that on shortcomings. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. I learned by this thing also. I'm learning a lot from your association. So don't think that I'm the teacher here. We are learning together. So be realistic, be realistic, not emotional, not on shortcomings. So here is another thing. Now, how to see this thing? Okay. So there are certain things that will make you happy. Okay. But is this something that will make Krishna happy? Okay. So for example, I have to go through some pain. Like for example, to teach this course, I have to go through some pain. I have to put things together. There are so much endeavor that I have to put on the upper level to be empowered to do this service. Okay. So this service is now taking too much of my time. Oh, I don't want to spend that much of time. Why I should try to, teach other, make PowerPoint presentation, go through Bhagavatam, bring all of that topic. What it does? No, nothing. Is it something, that I should do for others, that my mind can say? Okay. But is this something that will make Krishna happy? No, my dear devotee. This will not going to make Krishna happy. But if I put my endeavor try to help, agitate somebody's, mind more towards devotion, bring somebody wherever they are, just little bit up, little bit up. Everything is basically to bring, some elevation in our devotion towards Krishna. So that will please Krishna. So that is what I should do. Anything that will please Krishna. Some service, I have, I might have some issue working with, people around. I may say that I don't want to deal with this, I just want to be quiet. And, everybody will think that I'm a very good person. It's good for you. It's pleasing you. But is it something that pleasing Krishna? Krishna will be happy. Prabhupada will be happy. Even in the midst of all the problem, you put yourself forward and help. Not that we are trying to show that I'm the great, but I'm trying to support. I'm trying to help. So taking some service, even there is some pain around, doing it is good for our purification. So that's what it is. What is good for, we are servants of devotees. Okay. So, somebody should say that, now when we see devotee, we might have some difference in our opinion, but from our heart, I'll be subservient. We might not have, similar level of understanding on certain thing. We might conflict, we might not, but, that's okay. Dealing could be anything else. But once you go, I'll be 2-3 steps down. And from my inside, I'll be always thinking that he's the one that I need to worship. He's the one. So that type, what will please Krishna? Then pleasing me. Okay. So that's something. Always do things which will please Krishna, acharyas, that includes a spiritual master and devotees. Okay, like for example, we have Bhagavatam recitation going on every evening, and I see devotees are loving it. Like we have 13 or 15 devotees who have been consistently coming. They love it. Many of them are reading first time. They like it. It's very good. So I love it. We have Bhagavatam class in the morning. Today, Gopal Prabhu gave class, very intellectual class. We are talking some deeper science of Krishna consciousness. Devotees are loving it. A lot of appreciation is coming. It's good. We want to do it. Whatever it takes for me to manifest that type of environment, I will invest myself to have that type of investment, that type of, investment, or that type of surrounding. So take some pain, okay? By taking, that's what been spoken here. Just not by theoretically saying that I'll come to the stage of the Utmadikari. Nobody will come. Mataji said, that's Hindu Mataji, that, we have to basically purify by taking the deeper chanting. So purification must have to happen. So things that is around us, okay, the critical example that we can learn from these verses is that, I have some service to do, and I have, I'm put into a certain environment, certain, surrounding. I have to deal with, Narayan Prabhu. I have to deal with, Manonath Prabhu. I have to deal with so many devotees. All of them have their own personality, okay? But they are not my enemy, okay? They are put here in my framework to correct me, to help me, okay? So his personality is going to help me if he is very heavy at certain things. Okay, so his heaviness, will help me to purify myself. It will help me how I can be subservient when I see Manonath Prabhu or Narayan Prabhu or Daya Sandhu Mataji, how I should not think that I'm superior than them, how I should think that I am inferior than them. So these, so things that, in our environment, okay, those are not random. Material people, they think everything is random. Oh, this thing is happening, that thing is happening to me. Yes, we also have some emotion. But when we are quiet, we know that nothing is random. Things are placed, my wife is placed with me for very high reason. Okay, it's not random. My son and daughter are in my, environment, in my surrounding for some reason. Okay, our interaction, all the devotees who are here have some reason. Okay, so trying to see the deeper reasoning. Okay, that's what basically I was trying to say. That what is the meaning of becoming our own guru? Instruction, Siksha Guru, trying to understand everything that is around us has some meaning for us. Okay, don't be kind of averse Don't show aversion about certain things. Although we have human conditioning, it will come, but then try to understand. No, there is meaning here. If somebody is getting mad at me, there is some learning for me. So that's how we'll be very, very seasoned devotee. A devotee will go through all of these challenges and still come strong. Krishna will say, pass all the test. Is it making sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So the critical challenge that you have in your Krishna consciousness, don't think that this is random, or you can, there is other way to deal with it. No, there is no other way to deal with it. Deal at that time, take that Krishna has presented that challenge to you. Okay. So likewise, other living being, other surrounding, be very, very conscious. That's what it's been, this verse is saying here. Let me cite this verse if you are seeing the screen. It says that an intelligent person, through his own intelligence, expert in perceiving the world around him. What does it mean? This is the word we heard. What is the practical application? How we become expert in perceiving the world around us? By applying the sound logic. What is the sound logic? That no, this house that's given to me has purpose. In previous life, I might have said, Krishna, I cannot do your bhakti because I have to work very hard to feed my son and daughter. Krishna said, I'll make you PhD. I'll give you good education. I'll send you somewhere where you'll make good money. I'll see what you will do. My dear Lord, now you have given me everything. In that condition, how everything that is around us can be used. Use everything, because this is learning. This body, I'm dying. I have a lot of issues with my health. Still, what I can do? Use your PowerPoint presenter, your computer, your laptop, your desktop, your education, house, building, everything that is given around us. That's the real detachment. How we can use all of this thing to go up in our consciousness. Okay, so the practical application of these teachings are very deep, very deep, very deep. So please continue, doing that exploration, and don't get carried away by things that looks, artificially very attractive. Rather, human intelligence means give some time and see, okay, I have to do things which are given by Krishna, which are given by my Acharya, which are going to do these three things, which are going to please my dear Lord, which is going to please His divine grace, my spiritual master, and all the devotees. How we can please the devotees around us also. That's very important, very, very important to please devotee. And that way, slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly, you start consuming yourself and sharing yourself and living the life to help others. You will come to that stage of Uttama Adhikari, when you will see, so this, restraint and resistance that's coming in our way, don't ignore it, learn from it, okay? Sorry for taking a little extra time, but at the same time, it's very important how to understand the teaching of Sastri in real life, because we see people very good in Sastric explanation, big verse, Bhagavatam recitation, perfect, chanda, each and every syllable they will say, but as soon as they are done, real life, they are big failure. They can't please devotee, they can't deal with people, they don't have that humility to understand that Nayan Prabhu is not my enemy, he's my best friend. All the devotees that are on the call are not my enemy, they are my best friend, because they are giving me association to say something about Krishna. So, and I can't live without them. Who are my friend? Nobody beyond who comes to Krishna temple. Only I know the people who are coming to Krishna temple. So seeing everybody like that, oh, they are all my near and dear, okay? All of them are my best friend. They are helping me be more Krishna conscious. So now you are dealing with the challenge. So this is broader vision, a spiritual vision that we are talking about. Don't think that I am saying anything which is not applicable to the verses that we are going through. I'm giving you some critical insight, okay? So that's how we broaden our vision of seeing things, okay? So with that, I would like to conclude here. Is there anything else anybody has before we adjourn?
Prabhu, I wanted to.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, I thought I said.
No, please go ahead. You were saying something?
Well, I just wanted to add one thing, which is live a Krishna conscious life. So many times we have our public life or our work life and then our private life, which as devotees is a Krishna conscious life. And what I've learned is a devotee locally who was one of my mentors locally before I got initiated and continues to be, he said, you don't have a private and public life. You have to have a Krishna conscious life.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to get
point.
a
Very good
fall
point.
down. So, and then share Krishna consciousness with everyone. So if you're at work, if you go into the office, like many of us are remote, but if you're in an office, put up a calendar, put a picture of your of Srila Prabhupada. Set your japa bag on your desk, because it's people ask questions, and if they ask questions, it means that they have some connection that they remember to Krishna, and then that opens up the doorway, and then they say, well, what do you mean by you chant a mantra? And then you tell them what the mantra is, and then they hear the mantra, and then it goes from there. So you're starting to water that bhakti seed that's already in their heart. They've just forgotten. So anyways.
Good point. Very good point. We'll talk about that. Very good point. Yes. So, don't say that others are not, not a devotee. Yeah, they are,
Yep.
somewhere in a forgotten stage. Yes. So that's Madhma. That's what you were talking is a platform of Madhmadikari. Yes. How we can basically not, but at the same time, don't be someone who is dropping the ball. Don't drop the ball. Struggle in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Struggle is very good. Don't isolate yourself from the devotee. Get into them. They are the one who will help us become Krishna conscious. And you will see all the big devotees now who are come to the higher platform. My Guru Maharaj Vyas Puja is coming, okay? And listen, some of the offering that some of his disciple, senior disciple, like Gauranga Prabhu or others, senior disciple, is doing about Guru Maharaj. When I listen it, I see when I can get that quality. Like Maharaj uses everybody. Everybody loves, they are like all, Chapati devotee, Eco Village devotee. They are very educated, learned person, Harvard, this and that, big guy. And all of them just investing themselves. And how much they have done, you'll be surprised to see. Go to Govardhan Eco Village. And the whole project and everything that Maharaj is doing, and all of his disciples are killing themselves to help Maharaj. Why? Maharaj is Madhur Swabhav, Madhur Bhasya. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? I hear, I haven't have much association, but I hear from other, of Maharaj's friends that when he was in New Vrindavan, how he was leading the life and how, I'm going through this life, right? All of you, if I die, you will say something about me, Ramacharya XYZ, right? Your observation about me is factual. I may be misleading, but likewise, when Maharaj's, friends who are living with him, all of them, when they share their realization, they say, always he keeps, himself behind, but always supporting and always doing some. So that devotional Prabhu said, live, Krishna conscious life. Okay, so we all are a little bit, seasoned in Krishna consciousness. So that vibration need to come. Okay, very good. We need to do this type of discussions. Very important. Okay, Shastra gives us information, and then how to transform our information, transformation, application. Three things. Information, there. Take that information to transform our consciousness. Okay, so I gave the information, then I started transforming and then applying it. So these are the way we grasp when you are reading Sastri also. Okay, here is the information. How I can transform that. How I can transform my consciousness with that information. And then how I can apply it. Okay. So information, transformation, application. This is my realization. I write things. So suddenly I realize these are the things I have to follow. Give information, bring soul towards Krishna. Okay, so everybody do like that. Okay, So thank you, Hare Krishna. Vanchikalpatarubhyasya, Kripa Sindhubhyasya, Patitanam Pavanebho, Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Vishambal Bhakti Vindaki Jai. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranams to everybody.
Thank you, Haribol.
Dandot
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna. Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol.
Hare Bol.